So today we just concentrate on the fourth noble truth. I skipped the first three noble truths. We all know it. Dukkha, the cause of dukkha, and that there is an end of dukkha. And the fourth noble truth, that is the path that is leading us to the end of dukkha. And that is the path of sila, samadhi, and panya. Sila is very important. Sila is one part. So sila are the 5 precepts. The 5 precepts, just in short, not to harm any living being, not to take what is not given, not to use abusive speech or harsh speech or lie. The fourth is not to indulge into sexual misconduct. That means not using somebody else for one's own sexual pleasure. And the fourth is no alcohol and drugs. Everything that reduces mindfulness. So, these are the precepts the Lord Buddha normally gave to the lay people. Why did he give to the lay people? As their protection. A protection for what? A protection not to fall down in the lower realms. And the lower realms just start below us. It's the animal realm, it's a ghost realm, it's a demon realm, and it's a hell realm. So if we do not keep the 5 precepts, then that's where we go. That's why the Lord Buddha gave it to the lay people and said, please keep it. Not to hinder us in our pleasures and fun, but to protect us from falling down to the lower realms. You can see it also in a different way. If you want to travel from one country to another, you need a passport. Or if you want to drive it, normally in most of the countries, if you want to drive, just have a seat. If you want to drive a car, you need a driver license. But in most of the countries, or in the more sophisticated countries, when you drink and you drive, they take away your driver license for a while. And that is the same thing with the 5 precepts. If you don't keep the 5 precepts, they take away for a while the right to be born as a human being. That's why the Lord Buddha gave this 5 precepts as our protection. So we should keep them if you want to be born as a human being again. Or if you don't want to fall down into the lower realms. So, that is the whole reason why he gave it to us, as a protection. And the same thing, he cared about his monks, so he gave them the higher precepts, the 227 rules. Not only not to fall down, but also to be able to protect it and just do the work of bhavana, just do the work of practice. Not to be entangled into the world, that is not within the 5 precepts, so that's why there is a higher precepts for the monks. Not to get entangled into the world. Not to use money or not to deal with money, not to make this or that. Not to live in a luxury way of life. He did that on purpose because he went all the way up to Buddhahood, or he went all the way up to enlightenment, so he saw what is necessary and he saw what is not necessary. That's why the monks live a very, very simple life. Live a life out in the forest or in the caves or on the mountains or in the wide open under a tree, just by themselves. Very simple. 3 ropes and an umbrella, maybe a mosquito net and a bowl where they can catch their food in the morning. And that's all what they have. That's their own, that is their that is their belong. For the moment, please do not ask any questions. I will say when the time is. So this is sila. So as a lay person, and if you are Buddhist, and if you don't want to fall down into the lower realms, we better keep these precepts. That are there, and we have to understand it. It's there for our protection. Protection. You understand protection? You buy life insurance to protect your life. But how useful is it? If you die, you just get some money. But this protection is there, for us not to fall down into the lower realms. So this is the first part of the path that leads to the end of dukkha. The second part is important. The second part is Samadhi. Samadhi is important in two ways. First of all, it sharpens our mindfulness. Mindfulness, not in the sense that I'm, mindful that I'm doing this or I'm doing that, but mindfulness in the sense of awareness, what is going on. Awareness. Just to be aware. When you go, don't think I'm going, this is not mindfulness. When you're really going, just be aware of the process of going. This is mindfulness. Understand that well, there's a difference. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, this is not mindfulness. But being aware, if you want to understand mindfulness, just look at one of the suttas that the Lord Buddha gave. What is mindfulness? Mindfulness is the moment you wake up, and you're aware that you wake up. You're aware that you open your eyes. You're aware that you get up. You're aware that you put on your robes. You're aware that you wear the robes. While you're walking, you're aware that you wear the robe. You're aware that you put something in your mouth that you eat. You're aware of every little detail of life. That normally passes by without us even noticing. That's why I said mindfulness in the sense of awareness. Awareness, when I touch this glass, I'm aware of the touching. The feeling of the touch, the feeling, when it's a hot drink, the feeling of the hot and the warm. Then I'm aware of, putting it to my mouth. Then I'm aware to drink it. And then I'm aware to swallow it. And then I'm aware that it's down in my stomach. This is mindfulness. If you translate sati as mindfulness. But most probably the better thing is what we call awareness. Just being aware of the things. Being aware of your intentions you have before you do something. This is mindfulness, sati. So let's better talk about sati. And let's better talk about the importance of sati. The importance of sati is so great that the Lord Buddha said, that person who has sati for 7 days and 7 nights can reach enlightenment within these 7 days and 7 nights. You remember that? You heard about it. If he doesn't have enough awareness, then it takes him 7 weeks or 7 years or 7 lifetimes. That is the importance of sati. So in the path that leads to the end of dukkha, samadhi and sati are very closely related. If we don't have sati on our meditation object, being the word Buddha, 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 the mental repetition of the word Buddha, or being on the breath that comes in and that comes out, and we have only one point when we observe the breath, it's at the tip of the nose. We're just aware at that point that the breath comes in or the breath goes out. Or we are aware when we do the repetition of the word Buddha, 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 Buddha. We are just aware of the Buddha, Buddha, Buddha. And when the mind strolls out, we bring it back. We are not interested where the mind went. We just bring it back to the word Buddha. And that's it. So we replace our thoughts with the word Buddha. Replacing this, or we replace it with our awareness of the breath. Replacing is a very important skill that we have to learn to use. Because it will give us, or it will help us on the way to investigate, or it will help us on the way to find freedom. So we have to learn that skill. We have to learn it to the utmost until every second we can do it. Whatever thought comes in, whatever memory comes in, whatever Vedana comes in, we can replace it with the word of Buddha. Or we can replace it with the awareness of the breath at the tip of the nose. Be aware when you practice sati that there is only one point that you are aware of. It is either the Buddha or it is the breath. If you follow the breath, then you will never be able to concentrate on one point. And if you understand the three kinds of samadhi, That is first Khanika Samadhi or momentary Samadhi. That is Upachara Samadhi or access Samadhi. Or this is Appana Samadhi or deep Samadhi. When you understand what Appana Samadhi really is, it is one-pointedness. So how can you reach one-pointedness if you not stick to one point? And that's why we train ourselves, that the mind sticks to one point, being either the Buddha or being at the breath. And if don't lose that point. If it's the tip of the nose, then be aware of the tip of the nose. And just feel and just be aware that the breath comes in or the breath goes out, or that the breath is shallow or the breath is deep, or the in-breath is longer or the out-breath is shorter or longer or whatever. Just be aware. But your focus point is the tip of the nose. And it's the same thing with the Buddha. Our focus point is the Buddha, 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 Buddha. And we don't let it go up. So this is the skill, this is the ability we have to learn. Being able to stay at one point. This will help us later on when we do investigation. Because we have to, when we investigate an object, we have to be able to stay on that object for a long time before we understand it, before we see it, before we see its true nature. If our mind switches, and that normally does it, after 3 thoughts, it switches to another object, without even us noticing. We think we are going a line, but actually it jumps from one place to the other. And this is the thing that we have to learn. And this is the thing that we best can learn when we do Samadhi practice. That means Samatha practice, calm practice. Practicing the mind to get calm. The mind getting calm is something, is a feature, or is a quality that we normally do not experience during our life. When the mind gets calm, the mind gets unworried. It doesn't get troubled. It's not afraid. It just is. It's happy in itself, or it's peaceful, whatever comes up. Whatever our nature is. When the world of thoughts has crossed over, when the world of memories has been crossed over, and they have stilled, or we have quelled them, then happiness will arise, or peacefulness will arise. And there's just then the world of experience. That is the first stage, and that is called the stage of Upachara Samadhi or access Samadhi that we can reach when we develop Samadhi. The next stage is when we then even quill this experience and not letting our mind go out and still keeping the mind focused on this one point. Then we can reach Appana Samadhi. And Appana Samadhi it's an amazing state. Somebody who has been to Appana Samadhi, he will never ever forget it in his whole life. It's a state that is so truly amazing. It's so truly wondrous that he won't, whenever he gets out, he won't forget it. And say, wow, what was that? What happens in Appana Samadhi? What happens in Appana Samadhi? When we concentrate on this one point, then there will be a moment when the 2 points, that one who is aware of that point and the point itself will merge. So then one-pointedness will arise. These 2 points will merge. The person who observed the object and the object observed will merge to one point. And what does it mean? From our experience, it means that first, the body gets out of our awareness. We are not aware of this body anymore. It is like the body just disappears. It just disappears completely. We are not having the slightest feeling about the body. This is the first thing. Then the second thing, with the body disappearing, the whole universe disappears as well. Everything. Sound, sight, smells, and everything disappears. And what remains is there just one knowingness. The pure knowingness of the heart. That will remain. There is no object to be investigated, there's just knowingness. And this is something that we can, if we are a little bit determined, and put a little bit of effort in our practice, that we can reach. And what does it show us? Tanacha Mahabodhi says about this Appana Samadhi. It's the Nibbana of the little man. Why little man? Because everybody who puts a little bit of effort can reach it. So if you want to have a preview of Nibbana, you can also call it a preview of Nibbana. If you want to have a preview of Nibbana, what Nibbana is all about, then you can go there and have a look. It is one of the first wonders in meditation that we can experience. But it's our mind, it's our doubts, it's everything that keeps us from there. That's why we normally don't go in there. Just go in there and see. See for yourself. You know that the Buddha's teaching are just pointers to the truth. They're not the truth itself. Whatever sutta you read, they're just pointing to the truth. They are not the truth itself. Understand that clearly. He himself said it. I'm just pointing out the truth. You have to go the path. You have to go the way. But you will see, if you go the correct way, you will see all the signs along this path. And this is actually what is written down in the suttas. The signs or the experiences that occur to us or that happen to us when we go the right path. If you're not going the right path, of course, these signs will not appear. So if you go the right path of Samadhi, then this will appear. You will go into Upachara Samadhi, where there are no worries, where there are no fears, where there is nothing that troubles you. This is Upachara Samadhi. It's a safe place, it's a safe haven. That is the first thing. And if you go even further down, then you will reach Appana Samadhi. And this is something amazing. This is something very wondrous. And you will never ever forget it. Once you get out, you want to go back in, because it's so peaceful. And if you see, it is the Nibbana of the little man. So it's a peaceful state, it's a preview of Nibbana. And that's why Samadhi, that's why training Samadhi is so important for us. For us, most of the time, we are tangled up in this world. But this experience of Samadhi, be it Upachara Samadhi or be it Appana Samadhi, will give us a clue that there is something beyond. That there is something beyond all what we can experience in the world that is more worthwhile than everything in this world. And that's why the Lord Buddha said so. He said it about the jhana, so he said it about Samadhi. It's nearly the same thing. If I would teach my monks or the lay people a path that doesn't have anything else than the world can give, nobody would go this path. So that there must be something, there is something, and there is something. And we can all experience ourselves that exists, that has no match in this world. That is above this world, or above this life, or whatever you call it, above this universe. Something that you cannot experience, something that you cannot buy, something that you cannot go to, something that there is no way to do it within our human form, except for going into our citta. That's the only way how we can experience. And there, of course, we have to need to have a lot of mindfulness. We need to have a lot of sati to be able to go there. We have to observe this object, be it the breath or be it the Buddha, or sometimes be it the combination of the Buddha with the breath. That is fine, until the mind gets really calm. If you remember very well, the Lord Buddha talked about the calming of the mind like training a wild elephant. First you catch it, then you tie it to a pole. And Samadhi is that tying it to a pole. The moment the wild elephant realized that it cannot escape anymore, it will put itself to rest. And that's the same thing with the mind. The moment we don't let the mind escape anymore from the object, then the mind will go to rest. And that is Appana Samadhi. This is the first stage of training the mind. So you better see the importance of Samadhi. The second stage of training this wild elephant is the way of wisdom. So he explained it like, training a war elephant. First you have to get him calm. That we have done already. Now when he is calm, he is put out to pain. Men come and put spears or spears into his skin. And the elephant is not allowed to move. That's what makes a war elephant. The war elephant of a king. So he has to train this way. And this way of training is the way of Panya. So and that is the third stage within this path that leads to the end of dukkha. Wisdom. The development of wisdom. And the development of wisdom is seeing the true nature of things. So seeing ourselves. Ourselves, what is ourselves? What is ourselves? You know that there are 5 khandhas or 5 groups that make us. And these 5 groups we have to investigate. The first group is the group of the body. The second group is the group of Vedana. That means feeling, being neutral feeling, or happy, pleasant feeling or unpleasant feeling. It can be bodily feelings or it can be mind feelings. That is the second group. The third group is memory and associations. Memory, association and labels. That is the third group. The fourth group is short thoughts and views and opinions and things like that. And the fifth group is consciousness. So these 5 groups we have to investigate.
Fifth group is
Consciousness, vijnana. Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara and vijnana. Consciousness is nothing else than acknowledging that some sense data has come into our awareness. That's consciousness. So we have to investigate this. And what we investigate first is the body. Because that's where we're stuck. We are stuck in a body like a driver is stuck in a car. If he doesn't have any doors to get out, then he's stuck in the car until the car rots away. So our chitta is stuck in this body until the body rots away. And then it can go to a new body. That is for most of us. Some people, of course, can get out of the car, or some people can get out of the body while they do meditation. But for most of us, we are stuck. So we have to wait until this body dies, until our chitta can go to another body. So that's why we have to investigate this body. What is this body? What is this body like? What is it from outside? If you know what the monks get 5 things to investigate as first. The hair of the head, the hair of the body, the skin, the nails, and the teeth. And that's what they have to investigate. They have to see, what is the true nature of hair? Why do we have hair? Why do we style our hair? In Thai, hair and eye is one and the same word. The hair makes us, makes our appearance. The clothes also. The clothes make our appearance. And then the makeup makes our appearance. We make up something. What do you mean? It's all appearance. That's first what we have to understand about the body. It's about appearance. It's about how do we want to present ourselves to the world. That's one aspect. And then we go to the inner part of the body. Then we look at the inner parts of the body. And for this we have to have some concentration. For this we have to have sati. We have to have mindfulness or awareness of this element that we investigate of the body. Be it an organ, be it the vessels, or be it the blood, or be it whatever it be. Until we see it clearly before our inner eyes. And normally what happens? If we really truly investigate the body, then a feeling of disgust comes up. If that feeling of disgust is coming up, then we're doing right. And sometimes even anger comes with it, because we don't want to see. All our life we are running for the beautiful things, and we escape the unpleasant thing. When you go somewhere and you see something unpleasant, and if you're aware enough, you see that you turn your head away. You don't want to see. And this is what we have to learn. We have to see the unpleasant things. Because the scale of pleasant things and unpleasant things is way out of balance. If we do not bring that in balance, then there is no way that we can reach beyond greed and hate. Greed and hate, and beautiful and ugly, has to be transcended by scaling it up, by putting the scale into balance, to see the true nature of beautiful and ugly. Once we crossed greed and hate, that is the stage of anatta. So body is the first part of investigation. First from the outside, what are we doing to this body? We have to feed it, we have to clothe it, we have to give it medicine, we have to put it to rest. And all our life and all our effort is put into this category. Just to feed the body, just to keeping it healthy. And in the end, when we die, all our work was in vain. Because the body died. So think about how much time you spend, within your life just to feed this body. Just to take care of this body. To wash the body, to clothe the body, to heal the body, and so on. And in the end, the body goes. If you like it or not. It will just disappear. And then you think about the life, about 70 years of your living. How much have you put into this work to maintain something that has to die? Now, if you take another aspect of life, just keep up the body. Keep it running, put in the minimum, give him some food that he stays healthy, and give it some clothes that he stays warm. You don't need to have, all these different kind of clothes. That's a waste. Clothes is there to keep us warm. Hair is there, to keep the head warm. It doesn't need to be this style or that style. When we change the style, it costs a lot of money. When we change our clothes, it costs a lot of money. But for this money, we have to work. We have to work hard. In the end, what do we change? We just change our appearance. But do we change the sense of I? No. We are still there. We are still the same person if we wear this kind of cloth or that kind of cloth. We are just trying to fool other people with our appearance. And not only do we fool other people, we fool ourselves. We think, today I'm beautiful. And then tomorrow or after a few days, we think, how ugly am I? And then we use some makeup to make it up. And that's just think about your life. How much time you're spending in caring about your body. You build a house, to have it, I have a nice house, I have a comfortable being, but it's all for the body. It's just the same thing, as if we would spend everything, about the outside of our car, but don't worry about the engine of the car, or don't worry about the driver of the car. The driver of the car is the one who wrecks the car. So the chitta is the driver of the body. The chitta is the one who wrecks the body. So why don't we take care a little bit about our chitta, the one who is responsible for this body? You all know that we are responsible for this body. The way it is now, the situation we are born in, it's all the responsibility of the chitta. It's all the karma of our previous lives. The situation we feel we are in now is the responsible of the chitta. So if we're not taking care of this chitta, then nothing will change. It will get worse and worse and worse and worse. I hope you understand that. So this is one thing. The body is one thing. Feeling is another group that we have to investigate. What are feelings? They are neutral feelings. Neutral feelings most of the time we are not aware of. They are pleasant feelings. Pleasant feelings we like. They are unpleasant feelings. Unpleasant feelings we dislike. So whenever an unpleasant feeling is coming up, we are doing something else to evade it, to escape from it. But it's not only with unpleasant feelings that we escape. It's also with pleasant feelings we escape. We want more of them. We want to keep them longer. So our mind escapes into the future. Finds a reason how to get this pleasant experience. And then it wants to try to get some more. So actually it doesn't know what this pleasant feeling is all about. So does it not know what the unpleasant feeling is all about. That is something that we have to investigate. That is something that we have to learn. Investigating is always going down there in the chitta, going in our heart, and seeing things as they really are. And the other groups, as I mentioned, memory and association, thought and consciousness, we have to investigate the same way. But for the moment, the work is on these two groups. And the work will only be done if we reach the stage of anagata. You know, greed and hate is the end. When we pass through greed and hate, then we will not come back to this world, or not come back to any kind of world. Neither the heavenly worlds, not the lower realms. The anagami who has passed greed and hate will not come back. So he has to do some work, to pass this greed and hate. And this work is rooted in this body. The body is the earth to nurture the plant of greed and hate. So if we do not destroy the pot, then the plant will grow and grow and grow and grow. And the pot is the body. So if we do not destroy with our investigation, I don't mean physically destroy in the sense of seeing through, we will never be able to get beyond greed and hate. As long as we live for the senses of our body, and that is the only thing that we are really interested. We do not care very much about the body. When the body gets sick, we do not care, But we do care for our seeing, our hearing, our smelling, our tasting, our feeling and touching, and our thinking. We do care very much for these 6 senses that the body gives us. These 6 senses are rooted in the body. Once we destroy the body, the detachment or the attachment for these senses will go as well. They all come with greed and hate. Now this is the only thing. This is the only thing that we have to know. If we want to go to the end of dukkha, we have to investigate the 5 khandhas. That's what makes us up. And the next time you think about yourself, I'm like this or like that, then just put it in 1, 2 of the khandhas. Is it the body? Or is it feeling? Or is it memory? Or associations? Or label? Or is it thinking? Or is it consciousness? What is the sense of I? What is that what I say I am? Today I'm happy, next moment I'm unhappy. Now, am I either happy or am I unhappy? What am I? I don't really know for myself. Because this moment I say I'm happy, next moment I say I'm unhappy. How can this be? It's the same thing, it just looks, that we even don't know what we are. Because we used to say the contrary, just one moment after the other. Today I'm thinking like this, and tomorrow I'm just thinking the opposite. Isn't it strange? It is as if we really do not understand who we are. Now in the process of investigating these 5 khandhas, we have 3 characteristics three characteristics that are the basic characteristic of all this universe. This is anicca, anatta, dukkha. Anicca is impermanence. That means everything arises and ceases. Arises and ceases, arises and ceases. The body arises and ceases. Feeling arises and ceases. Thinking arises and ceases. Memory arises and ceases. All these things, even consciousness arises and ceases. All these things arise and cease. So we can investigate using this, anicca. Or we can investigate it using anatta. Anatta means not self. The Lord Buddha gave us the help of telling us all these things that we experience are not self. This is not me. He said, this is not me. This is not mine. This does not belong to me. So whenever we see a feeling coming up, then we use anatta to investigate. This feeling is not me. That is not mine. This is not myself. Or this body is not me. This is not mine. This is not myself. Or this memory is not me. This is not mine. This is not myself. It has arisen and it will cease. Whatever arises and ceases cannot me. Because who is the one who knows about arising and ceasing? Think about it. And now remember what I said about Appana Samadhi. Appana Samadhi is just knowingness. So this knowingness, isn't it the real self? Or isn't it the real true us? Just knowingness. So whoever knows about that a feeling has arisen and ceased, let's concentrate on this one. And whatever arises and ceases, this cannot be our true self. Because who is then the one who knows about it? Is it a different thing? And then the third principle is dukkha. For most of the Westerner, dukkha is that what brings us here. Dukkha is that what makes us practice. Dukkha is that what we want to get rid of. And that's why also the Fourth Noble Truth is the path that leads to the end of dukkha. And dukkha is not only suffering, it's not only pain, but it's discomfort, it's restlessness, it's just feeling unsatisfactory. This is all dukkha. Dukkha is a container. It's not pain, it's not suffering only. Some people don't have a lot of suffering, so they wouldn't understand why they should go this path. But they have restlessness, they have unpleasant feelings, they have discomfort. And that is also dukkha. So we can investigate the five khandhas in terms of dukkha. How much dukkha there are. How much dukkha it is to keep up this body running. Isn't it? Especially when we're sick, we feel a lot of dukkha. Or when we hunger, we feel a lot of dukkha. Or when we are tired. So how much dukkha does this body bring into our life? A lot. And when does it give us happiness? A few moments during the day. When the body is really feeling good, and has a lot of energy, then it gives us some happiness. But how much dukkha does it bring? And if you understand the human life or the human realm of existence, the Lord Buddha said it, if we are really perfect human beings, then we can experience at most 50% of sukha. Sukha is the opposite of dukkha, pleasant feeling. 50% of sukha and 50% of dukkha. When we go up in the heavenly realms, then sukha increases and dukkha decreases. But even in the highest heavenly realms, they still have dukkha. It's just a little bit, And even in the lower realms, there's only dukkha. So the lower we go, the more dukkha we have. The higher we go, the less dukkha we have. But all the beings in all the realms have dukkha and have sukha. So this is one thing that we can reflect upon. Investigation is also reflection. Reflecting. Getting to know the world as it is. Not only speculating about what is. And most of the time we're speculating. We're speculating about the results if we do this. How would they be, how they would be nice, and that's why we do it. But we don't know what it is. And that's what investigation is leading us, to the truth. That, for instance, if a group of people sits around a fire and they discuss what the fire is, some people say it's hot, some people say it's cold, some people say it's warm, some people say you burn your hand, some people say it will heal your hand. And then there's an interesting person coming from outside and observing this discussion all along, and then he sees the fire, he grabs into the fire, and then he knows what the fire is, and then he leaves. He doesn't have to convince the people that the fire is hot or the fire is burning or this. He knows within his own heart how the fire is. But people in this world, just discussing how the fire could be, how Dhamma could be, how Nibbana could be. They never go there. They're still discussing it up to the time, 2,500 years now. But a few of them only go there. And do they really convince other people, you're not right? No. They know it within their own hearts. They are liberated, they are free. It's there within our own heart. We can see it for ourselves. Once we've seen it, once we experience it, there's nothing that we need to discuss. We don't need to run to a teacher and ask him if I'm liberated. It can't be, The person who grabs into the fire doesn't ask other people, was it hot or did I burn myself? He knows it that he burned himself, You don't need to ask other people, what the experience of this fire was, because the experience took place in his own heart. And so is it with the experience that we do in our meditation. So is it with the experience of anagami. Once we go across greed and hate, we know it within our heart there is no greed and hate anymore. Once we go across, delusion or avijja, we know that there is no delusion within our heart. We don't have to ask another person. We don't have to confirm it. And we don't have to proclaim it. Because the one who proclaims this truth is insecure of his own gain. So he needs a lot of people, who back him up with his ideas. The person who knows himself knows it. There's no need to convince other people that he knows. There's no need to convince me that I have done this experience or not, or convince you that I have had this experience or not. Why? I know it within my heart, But if I only conjure it up, then I have, of course, to ask others. If it's only there in my mind, then of course I have to ask other people, do you think as well? Do you think I'm an arahant? I am, I'm so liberated, I'm so free, Do you think I'm an arahant? He's not. He cannot be. Freedom takes place in this one heart, nowhere else. And it's not freedom of the body, it's not freedom of the khandhas, it's freedom of the mind, it's freedom of the citta. The citta that is free. And it's very different. So how do we get to this freedom? How do we get to Nibbana? How do we get to through the 4 stages of enlightenment? The first 3 fetters. There are 10 fetters that bind us to the realm of rebirth. The first fetter is the fetter of doubt. The fetter of doubt is the doubting that there is heaven and that there is hell, that there is karma, that there are results of karma, that there are good karma, that there are good results and there are bad results. And that with every action, that with every speech, that with every thought, we make this karma. We make good karma, we make bad karma, or sometimes we make neutral karma. But every moment, not only moment, every mind moment, we do this karma. So, somebody who doubts that there is heaven and hell and that there are results of karma, and that there is nibbana, he will not be able to go the path. He will not be able to enter the stream. That is the fetter of doubt. The second fetter is the fetter that I explained with sila. It's not keeping the precept. Constantly fitting with the precept. Today I go to the monastery, today I keep the precepts, and then after the next day, I like to drink something, or this wife is very interesting, or this woman is very interesting, or this man is very interesting. Or I tell lies. I lie to another person for my own benefit, for my gain. So not keeping the precepts is one of the fetters. Keeping them today and then breaking them tomorrow, keeping them the day after and then breaking them again. This is called Silapata Paramasa, fiddling with rules, fiddling with the precept. So this is one of the fetters. And the third fetter, I have also explained already, is this body. We are attached to this body. We think this body is I. So, do you think the driver of the car and the car is one and the same thing? Now, we see it. But within ourselves, we don't see it. So, who is ordering the body around? If the body goes into Samadhi, the body won't fudge. It won't move. It won't scratch. It won't feel hungry. It won't feel thirsty. It doesn't feel, it's dirty. It doesn't feel anything. So the body is instigated by the chitta. The chitta uses the body to move along, to get its sense pleasures, to move it from here to here. So we have to understand this really clearly. The body and the chitta are two different things. Only if we understand that clearly. And even there the Lord Buddha gave us a good example. He gave us the example of the wagon. Once we put the wagon into bits and pieces, where is the wagon? You have a cart, and once you put it into planks and wheel and axe, where's the cart? It's not there. It's not existing anymore. There's planks, there's a wheel, there's axe. That's all. And there are nails, or maybe screws, whatever. That's all what there is. Where's the cart? And then we assemble it again, and there the cart is. And if we do the same thing for our body, disassemble the body and look where I is, where's it? Then this sense of I, this sense of identification with the body disappears for just a short moment. If we do this exercise long enough until the heart understands it, yes, the chitta and the body are two different things. And we have taken care of the sila, the second fetter, and we have taken care about the doubt. Then it's time for us to enter the stream. Only then. We need all three fetters. And for a lay person, that is possible to enter the stream. It was possible at the times of the Lord Buddha, and it's possible even now. If we do practice, then we can do it. It's not beyond our ability. The second stage of enlightenment is the stage of the once returner. The once returner, nothing really cannot be said very much about it. It just states in the script that he has reduced greed and hate by half. So, the anagami, though he has understood that the body and I is not self, he has not yet understood the body completely. So he has to understand the body completely. To understand the body completely means to destroy the pot where the plant of greed and hate can grow. Greed and hate, or the greed for the sense desires, root in this body. So he has to completely understand. And what does he do, and what is the normal practice? Is first, and that is what the practice for the monks most of the time, to bear the unbearable. To experience the unpleasant, and to experience the pleasant. And not only to experience the unpleasant, but to bring it up. How do we bring it up? We bring it up by investigating this body. Investigating this body, seeing the loathsomeness of this body. You remember the sutta the Lord Buddha gave to his monks? To the assembly of 500 monks about the loathsomeness of this body? Well, if you don't remember, you can look it up when you go back. The Lord Buddha taught about asubha. Asubha is seeing the unpleasant thing. So when he gave a talk to assembly of 500 monks, they were all young monks, he talked about the loathsomeness of this body. And the young monks got so disgusted that after the talk they all killed themselves off. They killed himself. They just killed themselves. And the next morning the Lord Buddha was surprised. He said, "Where are all these monks?" And then the Venerable Ananda said, they were all so disgusted with the body that they killed themselves. I just want to say with this sutta, that the Lord Buddha talked about asubha, talked about bringing up the unpleasant things. All our life, remember this, all our life we run away from the unpleasant and hanker after the pleasant. And that the first thing is we have to do to bring up the unpleasant. And that is normally done with this body. But it's also done with bringing up unpleasant feelings, bringing up unpleasant memories, just to see the true nature. What is unpleasant? If we do not bring it up, if we do not bring it in our heart and look at it, and being able to stay with it. For instance, for a monk, he lives in the cold and he has to bear the cold. He lives with hunger and he has to bear the hunger. All these things. He has to bear loneliness. He has to bear all these things. He cannot evade. He just cannot, if he is hungry, just go to the next food stop and eat. So he has to bear this unpleasant feeling of hunger. Or he has to bear the unpleasant feeling of cold. Or this or that. Or just being on himself. By himself, somewhere in the wilderness. He has to bear fear. Fear of wild animals. When he's there out there. Fear of falling, fear of illness, and so on, and so on. Fear of ghosts. So that's why he goes to graveyards, to get rid of the fear of ghosts. That's why he sits in the path of a tiger, because he wants to get rid of his fear. Fear of the tiger, fear of death, fear of this, fear of that. So, I'm just explaining this very shortly. Now we bring all up this unpleasant thing. We bring it up and bring it up. And that is the thing, when I came here to this monastery, that was new for me. This kind of practice of asubha was very new to me. Because in the West only vipassana is taught. Vipassana is just staying with whatever arises. And that's not getting you anywhere. That is not getting you beyond greed and hate. If you want to get beyond greed and hate, you really have to bring up the unpleasant thing. You really have to investigate asubha. You have, as I said before, you have to balance the scale. The scale, pleasant and unpleasant. Because in the end, if you really want to transcend greed and hate, you have to have them at your own view, at the same time. So you have first to develop this unpleasant things until they a little bit go over the scale. And then you pleasant them with the pleasant things. And then you exchange it. And this is the work. This is the last part of the work. He produces unpleasant feelings and he produces pleasant feelings. He exchanges a pleasant feeling with an unpleasant feeling and a unpleasant feeling with a pleasant feeling. Until he understands the true nature of pleasantness and unpleasantness. And if we skip a super, we will never be able to understand it. That's why we have to do it. We have to bring up a super. We have to bring up the unpleasant thing. Only then can we transcend it. And once we exchange it, once we replace pleasant with unpleasant and unpleasant with pleasant, long enough or fast enough, then we can hold them both in our mind. Once we can hold both in our mind at the same time without destroying one or the other, then we can transcend it. And that's the end of greed and hate, and that's the end of the investigation of the body. And this person will never be coming back into one of the realms of existence. That is the stage of Anagami. And the next thing is the Namakanda. The Namakanda. You know the Anagami has only done 50% of the work. 50%. So he still has 50% of the work to do, to go beyond avijja. So he has to investigate the Rupa Chanas, the Arupa Chanas. He has to investigate conceit. He has to investigate restlessness, and then he has to investigate avijja in order to transcend, in order to become a fully enlightened being. Now you see how difficult it is. And the Lord Buddha himself, he said, it is extremely, or it's nearly impossible for a lay person to go to the stage of Anagami because of this kind of work. He has to live. I don't mean he has to ordain. But he has to live the celibate life just like a monk does, or just like a nun does. In order to be able, completely be detached from the world. If you have sense of, you're longing for this or longing for that, you will not be able to make it. You have to cut it down, you have to investigate. You cannot just go there and, buy this, or you just cannot indulge into sex. This is impossible. You will never be able to reach the stage of Anagami. I'm finished in a few moments. It just stops. When you ask now, it just stops the talk. So, and then the investigation of the Namakandas, that means memory and association and Sankhara. And memory and association, or Sankhara and Sanya Sankhara, are the important thing to break down delusion. Because what I think I am, is made of Sanya and Sankhara. Mostly made of Sanya and Sankhara. So you have to break it down. Once you break it down, delusion has gone. And the rest is only avijja. But it's so difficult because we always think we are. We always have opinions, we all have views. So if you really do not have a good teacher, then you're stuck in this stage. If you don't have a good teacher like Tanacha Mahabua who really can point out and says, this was just Sanya Sankhara, it has nothing to do with the truth, then we'll be stuck there. You'll be stuck there until the end of your life. But if you have a teacher that can point out and say, no, this is not right, just go this way, then you will be able to make it, or you might be able to make it. And once you go beyond avijja, then that is the end. You will never be able to reborn, and once you die, you will be in Nibbana. And with this, I stop my talk, and now you can have your question.